So today I want to talk to you about how to use depression or how to use states of depression to make your mind stronger or develop how to build a stronger mind using depression. So this is a very interesting subject because I want to first give it a little bit of a disclaimer saying that this advice is not enough for you to feel better. If you're feeling depressed chronically, that means if you're consistently depressed, you should seek professional advice. But there are certain things in that I have used. The techniques that I'm using much of this time is actually coming from Buddhism and Vipassana, and also techniques that are philosophies that I'm taking. This are like Stoic philosophy, Stoicism. So it's a mix of everything. So when you the key thing is I'm not directly talking about principles or anything like that. Main thing is I want to show you how to bring this principle to day-to-day practical things, so that way when you're living you have a great time, rather than you only have a great time when you watch a TV or watch TV or on Facebook or whatever, right? Or when you take drugs or alcohol. How do you feel good all the time? So that's my goal has been always. So I'm a person who have suffered from acute depression all the time. Primarily reason for that, I have high expectation from the world. I had a lot of expectations from the world and of myself, and when those things are cannot be met, obviously I started to get depressed because I started to question what's the reason why I can't do these things. Why do I feel overwhelmed by all these things? Why can't I take action in the right direction in a way I want to go? Why don't I see the growth or the positivity that I want to see in my life? So I always question that, and it's not until recently that I had it's not until recently that I started to feel consistently consistently enjoy life in a way that I knew what I like, and then just chose to enjoy that. Before, I would say I was doing conducting my life in a way where I was going after things that would make me happy, and then when bad things happen I would be super depressed, and the good things happen, it was great, magnificent, but those don't always last too long, and then I will go back to which is the state of depressive state, because not everything is going in your way all the time and as you plan. Especially I see that among people who have a lot of expectation and was able to accomplish a lot of things in their life. I see that when they were able to accomplish a lot of things in their life, and all of a sudden they will get depressed. And also I see a group where they don't feel like, because of their beliefs, they feel so victimized. They don't feel like they have anything going their way. They always feel like the world's against them. They always feel like whatever they do, no matter what they try, just doesn't go on their way, and that causes a lot of depression. And to be honest, I've been all of them. To be honest, I've experienced so many different experiences. I mean, I'm guessing you have too. That it's really hard for me to say what kind of depressions I had. So you can doesn't necessarily say, because sometimes you're like, oh man, I didn't know he had depression. Well, technically speaking, depression is what I call to be when you have deep states of sadness, thinking that you can't you feel like nobody can be helped, you cannot be helped, right? And sometimes I felt this most of the time when I felt overwhelmed by the amount of work I had to do. So that's what I mean by depression, that that causes other issues like anxiety and things like that. But the depression that caused by overwhelmness and not feeling like you have enough strength within to go meet the necessities of the world, and feeling sad about it is what I'm calling as depression. If you want a definition as I define it. So I mean that's essentially what I see what's going on right now. A lot of people struggling with different things, trying to achieve. I mean they're already doing pretty good job of progressing in their life. It just it's what's for me, it's what's funny is that you never see like a dog depressed, right? Like, and then if you look at them, like like they don't have too many expectations, they have very little expectation, and they get the maximum happiness out of meeting their only couple of their expectations. And that kind of thinking, that led me to think maybe one of the reasons why we feel so upset about things is that we have hundreds and hundreds of expectations that we have internalized, taking from the world and put it on ourselves to accomplish them. And there's too many of them. Prime example, if you're at work, look at the number of expectations that you have. Or it's better actually to say, look at the number of expectations you have of yourself, thinking that other people are expecting those things of you, right? There's so many. It's the same with your parents. Parents or family member, whatever. It's usually what's your expectation. It's not the actual their expectation. Their expectations could be much bigger than what you think their expectations of you are. But much of the time, why we feel depressed and upset about things is the fact that we have a lot of expectations that we are trying to meet, and we are not good at meeting in any one of them. And the reason for that is because we are trying to maintain a specific persona in front of other people. And when that persona gets dismantled, you have a little bit of a problem with that, and you try to strive to keep it going. And because the reason why you may try to maintain the persona or that personhood is because that has helped you all your life. This is all you know, right? So there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with maintaining a persona. But the thing is, understanding is it your own persona or own personhood, or your understanding of your own self. Is it causing you harm? So it seems like for me, what I understood that it used to cause me harm. It's my beliefs led me to be more victim of my circumstances. That's what I started to see. You see, when I used to work, one of the first jobs I had was an investment management company. It was a great company. The problem was me. I went into work and expecting, being able to perform and do my 100%, but that job was not for me, right? The reason it wasn't for me, first of all, like, I was not in the investment industry. I didn't study anything to do investment. The other aspect to it was, like the way the math and the data was moving in front of me, I wasn't comfortable with. And I never felt resonated with that kind of doing that. So, when I come home, I would just think I'm just a bad person or not good, not worth it, because it's not worth it to even to go to work or to do anything, because I feel like I felt so victim by my own work. It's something I was continually doing that I wasn't good at, and I was using that information to judge me as a person. And then I thought I was a crappy person because I wasn't good at my job. I don't want to go to work. I'm always thinking about skipping work. I just had a lot of difficulty, and I didn't know how to verbalize to anybody, because as you guys know, if you were to skip work or whatever, because sometimes you're so stressed out, you're just so scared or so anxious or depressed, you just don't want to go to work or don't want to do it. And now you have to come up with these reasons that why you don't need to come to work, and they sometimes conflict with what's really happening. Maybe you want to say that I feel super depressed and I don't want to go to work and I don't want to move a muscle, right? But we have to say other things like where somebody's hurt or something, right? So that again, look at the amount of conflict that causes within you to needing to do that. We should be able to say, look, I can't work right now. My mind is there's too much going on. Our boss maybe, I mean, they might not understand. Like I said, we have way too many attachment to the external things, and we judge ourselves based on these things. But what I'm saying is that as long as you clear your mind and say, you do what you say, and you say what you're gonna do, keep it clean like that, and not over promising for everything, not having a lot of expectation of yourself. Why you only have, like, if you're in your 30s or if you're in your 20s, you maybe have another 60, another 50 years to go. Make the most out of those time. You don't have a lot of time. We have millions and hundreds and millions of expectation day to day that we're trying to fulfill. It's not worth it. Find a few that you will feel super happy if you were to be accomplishing them. Try that attitude and that approach for a bit, and instead of always instead of having hundreds of expectations, bring it down to, if you have bring it down to 20, maybe bring it down to five, maybe bring it down to one. Work with one. Maybe if you don't have any expectation with, if any expectation mean if you're not worried about any of the outcomes, you just go about performing the life activities as you think is important. Well, that's the best position to be. But if you have hard time doing that, just giving work for doing work sakes and performing the best at it, instead of, if you have a hard time doing that, at least reduce the number of expectations. Don't, if work's bothering you, forget about your future for now and just focus on getting your work done properly. Become proficient at your work. You're not going to go anywhere if you can't even get this job right? If you don't like the work, well, focus on getting another job or applying for another position in the same job, or have the mindset to go tell boss, look, this is not, I've been doing this, I've tested this type of work out. I like some of it, I don't like some of it. I'm going to be honest with you, and these are the things I don't like. Is there anything I like, I can do? Anything else that you need help, that maybe I can try and see if I like to do that, right? Instead of sometimes, instead of just completely quitting, and if you like your boss, if you like being there, why don't you have these open conversations with them? Sometimes I realize that when you can give your heart to somebody and tell them your vulnerabilities, you give them, you're like, look, these are my problems I'm working on. You have to tell me, you have to tell them. Once you tell them, you give them this precious thing, they actually turns the same thing back at you. They give the kindness, they give the warmth. I mean, if there are normal people, they would, right? So now, I'm not saying everybody would either, right? But they would give that warmth right back when you're showing your vulnerabilities to them. But vulnerabilities doesn't mean that you have to be weakened person. That's not what I'm saying. Understand your vulnerabilities are there. There's other people's vulnerabilities as many as you have, or maybe more. And they're trying as hard as they can to keep them away as well, just as you are, right? So if you can be open with them and be the example, right? Show your own, these are the things I'm working on, I don't know what to do. Sometimes they might come and help and tell you what you need to do. This is not coming from a place of weakness. It's coming from a place of complete strength. You're admitting your own vulnerabilities, so those vulnerabilities won't become an issue for you later. If you have no vulnerabilities, who can mess with you? Right? If you have exposed to them, if you discuss with them, everybody, and say, okay, these are my weaknesses, these are my issues, this is my expectations, well, then you truly don't have anything to be hiding or being scared about. You understand, this is my problem, right? And more recently, I found that I have a hard time, like, paying attention to certain what do you call it, math signs. Like, I don't see them right away, which sign they are. So that's kind of thing, if you're not willing to be open with understanding your weaknesses, and if you keep pressing your life to do what your weaknesses are, you're just going to end up a person. And if you're continually thinking that you're a weak person because you have to do things that makes you feel weak, you will continue to give on things that will make you feel weak, right? Because you're not going to be trying things that will make you any stronger. So how would you even know? How would you even know what makes you feel stronger if you don't do it? If you haven't experimented with it? One of the main reason why you're depressed is because you haven't experimented with enough to even take a look. Man, is there anything else that I can do? Right? So depression, when you're depressed, it's okay to be depressed. I never say, you need to get out of your depression. I would never say that. Because sometimes for me, depression has functioned me as a point of rest, point of recovery, where I sometimes used to work, back to back, maybe, 60 hours a week, right? And I've done that. And then sometimes that depression helped me as to, kind of draw everything out and then kind of, focus within myself and see the weaknesses within me. So during that period, what do you do when you're feeling weak and depressed? Do you look at yourself as, oh man, I'm a weak person? Or do you like, man, maybe I'm feeling depressed, maybe my life is, I need a little bit of a break, maybe I need a little bit of a recovery, maybe I needed a new shift in life, right? I always notice that when I'm coming out of recovery, I started to read a lot, right? So I'm not saying again you need to read a lot or anything like that. Just do whatever you think is right. But do if I was in your situation, if I know the things I know now, what I would do, if you're feeling depressed, and just go, watch a movie you like the most. If it's 70 show you like to watch, Friends, whatever, just put it on, just go crazy. Who cares? But I'm not saying you shouldn't. What I'm saying is it's not about getting out of the depressive state. It's asking yourself, well, maybe replace it with something you like to do more, right? If you haven't played a game, download a game to your phone and then try it out. Try something instead of just not thinking. If you really want to think about your thoughts, but think about it objectively, not a way that will victimize you and think, oh, this has happened to me, nothing going my way. Man, that's the old news. That's the old story. You've been saying that shit all your life. It's not gonna go anywhere. You're gonna continue to say it's not gonna help you, right? Turn your understand. Maybe your depression is a point of recovery, a point of reflection, a point of where you can bounce off from. For me, all my depressive states has been a bouncing off point, right? I know that. I mean, I don't need to convince you that. I know that. If you don't see it that way, maybe you need to start thinking about maybe how can you convert your depression into a point of strength. Go maybe talk about vulnerabilities to somebody else, or watch something that enjoy something that you might like to do. But don't have too many expectations in yourself. Limit your expectation until you can manage your expectation and you're not doing too many things. Minimize. Start saying no to things. Start saying no to the things that you usually say yes to, right? So have some time with you. Determine what you want to do. Not having giving external things to maintain who you are, to maintain the personhood of you. It's not gonna put you on a good path. You'll be always doing things haphazardly based on what is happening around you externally, not because you want to do. You haven't focused enough within yourself to be able to focus on everything outside yet. So if you're depressed, the first thing you need to do, find a way you can be happy. Take a bath, watch some TV, free your mind. Like, don't hold on to these past things. Those things doesn't do any good. It doesn't. You can keep holding on, and for how long will you hold on? Are you not tired yet? Just let go. Just let go and go enjoy. Go for a walk. Smell a flower or something. So, yeah, do that. The other way to look at it, at depression, if you like being depressed, be depressed. Nobody's stopping you. Nobody's telling you not to get depressed. I know everybody say, oh, here there's this information. Yeah, there's so many things, but how come people are so depressed after we literally have no issues in our life? If we need food, we can, especially if you're from the Western countries, we can just go on the phone, call up some person and then they bring you food in 15 minutes. What problems do we have in our life, right? Doesn't mean that your problems are not real. What I'm saying is that understand the situations that you're in to be able to live with your problems. Be able not to be not let your problems define you. By defining you, don't let external things identify as you this and that. It's not going to do you any good. Strengthen your mind. Focus on strengthening your mind first. Focus on building a mentality you're pretty much unaffected by the happening external world. You can be happy if you wish to be, and you can be depressed you wish to be, but you decided, not the external world. Amen.